Hello everyone, hello YouTube, hello Spotify. Today I'll be doing a book review. It's by this book by Bill Gates, How to Avoid a Climate Disaster. Frankly, I need to admit that I'm not a reader myself. I read a few pages and I just fall asleep quickly. It's just so boring. But me myself, I really like the noble causes that Bill Gates devotes his life to, like global health, gender equality, global education. Um, Yeah, and also me myself being a father of a daughter, climate change is something that's close to my heart. Hopefully, I can leave a better world for my children. So yeah, I read the book. I finished in about 5 days. Not a fast reader myself, but it's quite interesting. So Bill Gates went through the top emitters of greenhouse gases. The first one being how we make things like cement, steel, and then moving on to how we produce the food that we eat, like cow they burp and fart methane, and how we go about how we move around, transportation, how we get our electricity, burning coal and gas, fossil fuels. Yeah, it's quite an interesting book, and he presents an urgent case for the world, the human population needing to come together and reduce the current emission amount of 51 billion tons of greenhouse gases a year to literally zero by 2050. 2050. That is quite a difficult. I mean, he explains that it's quite a difficult task, but it's achievable given the technology. So when he says zero, he doesn't really mean zero because everything we do emits greenhouse gases. But there are technologies such as direct air capture (DAC) that nips the problem in the bud and captures the greenhouse gases. Yeah. So when I read the book, honestly, I was a bit sad because at the point of writing, Bill Gates was still married to his wife Melinda French Gates, and the most commonly reported reason was because of Bill Gates' link to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, I need to point out something. During reading the book, I realized that Bill Gates has a power. He has the power to garner all his wealthy friends, raise a sum of money, and commit the sum of money towards a cause. And he mentioned a example in a United Nations related conference where he raised a funds of money very quickly by garnering his wealthy friends, raising a sum of money and presenting it to the French president. So yeah, my guess is that he got acquainted with Jeffrey Epstein for the purpose of raising funds because the guy is rich, right? The committed sex offender is rich, for raising funds. But I think he went too deep, such that he caused his wife to be unhappy and resulted in a divorce. It's quite sad because I mean myself, I'm married for 3 years and it's a huge part of my life. I really cannot fathom how Bill Gates, being in his 60s and 70s, 60s, 70s, having gone through so much with his wife, having 3 children, having so much assets under their name, helming the Gates Foundation together, going and divorcing after I think they were married since 1994, so 20 plus years, not 30 plus years of marriage. Yeah, it's a bit sad. It's quite shocking, quite alarming to me, but it happened. Yeah, and also Bill Gates had a reputation for flirting, for wooing his subordinates during his time at Microsoft. But here's the thing. Here's my suspicion. What I suspect is now don't quote me anywhere. What I suspect is a minor cause of their divorce is the Melinda French Gates demand for equality, or in terms of authority in their work. So they helm a Gates Foundation, right? And they have the same resources, same share of authority making, same share of authority. But what is funny here is that the wife is not obviously not as talented as Bill Gates. So should there be equality? Well, there is obviously not an equality in terms of talent. Correct. Disclaimer: I have nothing against women. My wife, she's more talented than me. She earns more than me. I think she earns like a few times more than me, and I'm happy for her. I'm really happy for her. But the thing about Bill Gates and his wife is that the wife started out as a product manager in Microsoft. Okay, that is above average. To me, that is above average. I can never get into like those big companies. Maybe as a cleaner or like a technician, maybe yes. But I can never get into those big companies. But being a product manager is nowhere as near as starting a billion-dollar company like Bill Gates. So, a bit funny there. I mean, is gender equality really equality? And what I feel is funny is that after the divorce, some money that the wife got from the divorce, right, she donated it to gender equality together with Jeff Bezos, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos' ex-wife. So this rich woman with all the money that they get from their rich husbands, rich ex-husbands, decide to donate it to gender equality. I don't know, it sounds to me like these women are reinforcing the idea of gender equality, because if you're championing the idea of equality, you would be earning the donations yourself. Yeah. Wait, I need to get back. Sorry, I got carried away. I need to get back to the book. Actually, I don't really want to get into like the technicalities of the possible solutions to each of the greenhouse gases emitter problems. But something I really liked about the book was how Bill Gates highlighted very practical limitations to solutions like clean energy, for example, solar and wind. So the practical limitations are like how storing them. We are not able to store them for long periods of time in batteries, right? Today, batteries are simply not good enough, and the sun doesn't shine 24/7, the wind doesn't always blow. So that's a problem. We need to store, but we cannot store for long. So, at night when we need light, the sun is down, what are we going to do about it? And also the idea of location, because the sun and wind doesn't blow everywhere. So we need to transport the stored energy to somewhere. And to do that, we need energy grids. And Bill Gates highlighted how the US has a massive task to build transportation grids. So I also agree with Bill Gates that the bigger solution to this climate change is how we generate electricity. And the best way, the cleanest way, the most reliable way is nuclear energy. And war, when war, like the World War II has brought a bad name to nuclear energy because US used it to bomb Japan. Yeah, it's brought a bad name to it, but it is the only non carbon emitting energy source that can provide energy 24/7, 247. So yeah, I think nuclear energy is the way to go, but it's more complex than that. You need to store it. If you want to dispose of nuclear energy, you need to like build it like super deep underground. Yeah. So something I didn't like about the book was that being in Singapore, the book is not largely written in the context of the US. Maybe some things in Europe, some things in China, but not much Southeast Asia. Which I don't know if the way that Bill Gates quoted like how they produce electricity relates to us. Yeah. Something that I didn't like also was how deep down in my heart, something I didn't like but I knew that it was necessary was carbon tax. So we need to factor in environmental damage into the things that we buy. Like for example, electricity. If we burn fossil fuels, there's carbon tax involved. Bill Gates often mentioned the term green premium, which is the price difference between fossil fuels and its green alternatives. So yeah, I just something that I mean, Singapore implemented carbon tax in 2019, but I think there has to be. I don't know, when I speak to people around me, like during the recent Chinese New Year, right? I speak to some relatives. They are like, "Hey, this carbon footprint thing is really bullshit." I mean, do you really? I quote them. Do you really monitor your carbon tax, your carbon footprint? I say like, I don't monitor them like how some people monitor calories intake to their body, but I try to minimize it as much as I can. Uh, so how I do that, I off electricity whenever I don't need them. I try my best to cut down on red meat. I try my best to recycle. Yeah. So some things that I learned from this book that I feel will influence my actions in real life, in like reality, is that the idea of green premium. Because initially, right, when I see things like Impossible Burger, Impossible Meat, like, the lab developed meat alternatives, which using plant-based meat alternatives. I always think they're very expensive. Who will buy a burger for like $12 when you can get a real meat for like $5-6? So, but now having read the book, knowing how hard the labs, right, the company, the green companies, how hard, how much effort, how much time they devoted to developing this meat, it actually puts into perspective that actually this Impossible Meat is actually quite cheap. They actually tried their best to lower the green premiums as much as possible. So, I mean, even though there's still a price difference, if you are able to afford it, yeah, I'll be more willing to pay for it lah. I mean, Singapore cost of living is really so high already. What is $5-6 gonna matter, right? So yeah. So thank you so much for listening to me. That's the end of my podcast. I am currently trying to read another book. It's a literature book, Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. Hopefully, I can finish reading the book. I only got through like maybe the first 10% of it. Yep.